Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Seed Speaks. My name is Ashley Robinson. I am the editor of the Alberta Seed Guide, and today I'll be acting as your host. We're going to discuss the topic of seasonal labor in ag employee recruitment as we move into this post-pandemic world. So I have a guest here with me today from the seed world. Thank you so much, Adam Ogle, for joining us. To those watching, please don't hesitate to ask any questions you may have to our panelists here in the chat box. So please just fire those away and we'll try to ask them to Adam. Okay, so first off, let's just start with getting to know a bit more about Adam. So please, could you just tell me about yourself and what you guys do over at your company?
Sure, thank you. So first, thanks for having us a part of your episode today. It's excited to be able to share some of our insights with what we have going on here. Watched a few of the previous episodes, and it was nice as we were chatting before the live feed started that it's good to see and hear other people are faced with some of the same struggles that we are in the industry as it relates to labor. So Total Seed Production is a wholesale and contract producer. We produce seed corn and seed soybeans in north central Indiana, just to the west of Tipton. We are a family-owned business, and we are approaching 70 employees as we have grown pretty rapidly over the last 5, 6, 7 years. So definitely a primary focus of people and recruitment and getting the crops in the ground and back out in a timely manner. So we kind of tend to speak to tenure here in seasons. So this is my 9th season with Total Seed Production. I started as our soybean manager when I began my career here, and in 2017 transitioned into the general manager role. So we all wear a lot of different hats, and people and our employees and our teams, affect all of us.
Okay, well, thank you much for talking a bit about yourself there. And now let's ask some questions and get discussing what we're here to talk about. So of course, you guys are based down in the States, and I'm based up here in Canada. So we have a bit different experience with the world when it comes to hiring and everything. But of course, it's still similar because we're on the same continent and we're in the same industry. So first off, as an ag business in the States, what struggles have you guys encountered when it comes to finding employees? And has the pandemic affected that for you?
So for the last 3 or 4 years, it has seemingly been harder and harder to find labor, especially seasonal labor, as we approach harvest is usually our busiest time of year. The pandemic obviously did not help with that. Fortunately, with our structure and being a part of an essential business like everyone else in the ag industry, things never stopped for us. They didn't slow down. If anything, that they were a bit more hectic at times. So there was not a plethora of people in the ag industry looking for employment during the pandemic because we all kept right on chugging along. So we've continued to have those struggles through the pandemic, and then here on the tail end of what we hope as we move past this, we'll see more people coming back into the workforce. But everywhere you look, the towns you drive through, there are help wanted and now hiring signs everywhere. Everyone's looking for help, not just specific to the ag industry.
I know here in Canada, we're a bit behind you guys on reopening, of course, just with how the pandemic's worked out. And I know this week I've started to see some of the stories in the news about the struggles to find employment and employees, because a lot of people have switched or upgraded and stuff. So when it comes to those seasonal employees, of course, I know I grew up on a farm myself, and I've heard this same story for years and years. So what is the struggle? Why is it harder to find somebody to only work maybe when we are those busier times of year when we're in the fields?
So I think a lot of it can be related to the type of individuals that we gravitate towards, right? So the young men and women coming off of family farms are fewer and farther between. So it's as we grow and expand and take on different pieces in our business, we start to see how we can bring in individuals that don't have a farming background and teach them something about our operation, or teach them how to be seedsmen and seedswomen. So that has opened up more opportunities for us, pulling from surrounding states and pulling from different industries here and around where we're located. We compete or have the competition of the automotive industry and manufacturing where we are located. So we have a hard time sometimes pulling people to our front door just to get them here and have the conversation with all the other opportunities that are here locally.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was a really interesting point you made there about how we are. I think that's something we talk about all the time in ag is how we see not people aren't as connected to the farm anymore. There aren't as many small family farms, and we have a lot of these bigger farms. So it's a really good point. I hadn't ever thought about the fact that we have less people that maybe grew up working on a farm that would be up for doing it between semesters of school and stuff. So that's a really good point. So you did say you guys pull from other states and stuff when you're hiring. So I know, of course, we do have it here in Canada. We have a lot of international workers and stuff. So where do you think it's best to look for those seasonal labor? Is it local, national, or even international?
So it's always great to look locally first, to try to attract people from the community to come in and help. Again, the competition with the other industries in our area make that difficult. Going into this season, we tried to prepare more on the front end and have brought in more H2A labor than in previous years to help cover some of the harvest and detasseling season roles. Hopefully we've done that with a large enough number of additional people to help cover some of those needs, with the anticipation that maybe the local availability of help might be tight going into the fall.
And when you say H2A, just because I'm Canadian, is that your guys' foreign worker program?
Correct. That is the Ag Foreign Worker Program. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Did you guys struggle at all? Did you look at having any employees brought in last year or anything? Did you struggle at all with any of the pandemic kind of restrictions around travel?
Maybe more nerves than anything, just worried about, would the individuals get here in time? Would they have safe travels? What would the pandemic do with them traveling to and from and their housing? So we were extremely fortunate in that regard, and everybody made it here on time through detasseling and through harvest, and worked together very safely, and was really very successful given what we were up against last year.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you guys said, I know down in the States, you guys are a bit more post-pandemic than we may be up here in the Great White North, but how are you finding as we're moving towards, because a lot of things have shifted for perspectives and stuff. I know, even with, you've heard of loads of people kind of shedding the big city to work remotely. So what are you finding when you're looking for employees? Are they going to be more willing to travel in post-pandemic or move for employment? What are your thoughts on that, or what are you finding?
I think there are still a fair number of individuals that are looking to relocate. I mentioned interviewing people out of state, so we've had a lot more phone interviews over the last 18 months. So it's not necessarily been an immediate, come in and sit down, and that's not been necessarily the request or direction of either party in that case. But we might hesitate to bring someone in from another state to have a sit down interview without talking over the phone first to see if it would be a fit, for sure.
Yeah, and we actually have a question from the audience right now about H2A workers. So was it H2A challenging to complete, and what tips do you have others who might be applying for it as an employer?
So I can't speak to that 100%, but I can say that we utilize contract services that take care of the application process and finding those individuals for us. And we've cultivated those relationships over a long period of time to have that commitment from those individuals to come back year after year.
So there are different services and stuff that you can look into for help when you are a company wanting to do this, or even a farm or something then?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's awesome. And what have you as yourself kind of noticed in the changes as we've seen this last year, of course, go over and stuff? And we did talk a bit about how people maybe still willing to move and stuff, but what have you guys noticed as a business when you're trying to go through with hiring and stuff, and just making sure that your employees feel safe as they may be coming in for just a few months or something to work?
Sure. Well, we were definitely all ready to get back outside when the sun started shining and the weather warmed up. It's a bit claustrophobic in the wintertime anyway during our packaging season here. We have limited individuals that are outside year round working on farm related projects. So coming back to work in our work areas, having guests come in and out of the facility, we've really had a broad range of people and that represent different areas and different industries that come through, and some have treated it the same all the way through, and we respect that and have gone through the wearing masks and social distancing here, and we hope we're on the downhill side of the pandemic for sure, and hope that we don't go back to some of those restrictions, and we're definitely glad things are opening up. So we've done our best to stay the course.
And when you guys are looking at, how many people do you usually hire about seasonally when you do bring people in to help with the harvest and everything?
So we could add as many as 60 H2A workers and an additional 10 or 15 local seasonal laborers. And one of the attractions that we have from a seasonal labor standpoint is that they generally have an opportunity for full-time employment as we grow, or we see those individuals working with our other team members. The ones that stand out speak for themselves, and they kind of get themselves hired through feedback from their peers that they're working with. So as we're having those interviews and bringing people in, that's one thing that we point out, is that there's a very good chance of opportunity here if you come in and hit the ground running.
That makes sense. I've heard that with lots of different places. When you come on for those seasonal jobs, if you can make your mark and make sure that your voice is heard and you do good jobs, you could get hired. So we have another question from the audience. A lot of times seasonal labor can be high school students, especially in certain areas. So what recommendations do you have if you guys are working with younger employees who may not have all the job skill set that someone that's done a few jobs or worked full time?
That can definitely be challenging from just being connected to technology. So to remove someone from that environment and put them out in the middle of a field, or to have them in a piece of equipment where they may not understand the gravity of, or the importance of what they are doing. Operating a $500,000 piece of equipment at any age is a lot of responsibility. So work hard to make sure that all of our seasonal labor has someone that they can ask questions to and work closely with, and that there are other employees working nearby that can help them if they get in the jam.
And how do you guys handle that seasonal employee training? I know you said that earlier we were talking, you were saying how we're not having as many people to be able to hire that have that agricultural background. So how do you guys handle the training and making sure that people are safe when they may only be working with you guys for a couple of months?
Right. Training is a very hot topic that everybody says that they get tired of training. Let's be honest. And we have a lot of on-the-job training. We talk about that, where we can't teach someone how to package seed necessarily sitting at a table. We can't practice driving a tractor from a computer at a real level. So everything we do pretty much has to happen out in the field with someone that's experienced in that operation, and trying to spend as much time as necessary to get that new individual comfortable in whatever they're going to be doing.
Definitely. I know even myself, when I've started a few jobs, there's some things that you have to be told right off the hop, but a lot of things are always just on the job training, and just being able to have someone though that you can go to and talk to if you have questions is what I found important myself. Yeah, so I think that we're good. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Because we've had a really great conversation. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having us.
Yeah, so thanks so much, Adam. And I really enjoyed talking with you and hearing your insights on this. And for those watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you missed part of today's live stream, don't worry. We'll have it available on demand on Facebook and YouTube later. And if you have any more questions on the subject or ideas for future topics we can tackle here at Seed Speaks, please send a message to Seed World's Facebook page or feel free to shoot me an email. And next week on Seed Speaks, my coworker Sonia Begeman will be hosting a discussion on recruiting diverse candidates, gender diversity, how age should or should not matter, and other job candidate questions. So we hope you'll join us, and thank you, and see you next week.